The Galactic Federation is very real, and I've had 2 encounters with them. What's up, y'all? Welcome to Spirit School. Go back to part 1 to understand where this is coming from, but I found this is the perfect opportune time to share my experience. There's been a lot of conversations online I've seen, social media, the Galactic Federation being brought up a lot more now that it's becoming more known to people. There's just been this false narrative going around about 1, what they do, 2, whether they exist or not, 3, if they are part of this dark agenda. So I can speak from my experience. 1, that they're not part of the dark agenda. 2, they are beings of peace and love and light. 3, they are very real. I have encounters with them way before you've seen anything about Galactic Federation as much as you do now. My first encounter with them was about 12 years ago. And that first experience was with this being. And my encounter with them was when I was astral traveling in my dream state. I went onto the GFL mothership, and you know me and my drawings. I'm going to try to draw it for you guys to the best of my ability what it looked like. This is going to look very basic, but let me explain to you, okay? So when I first got onto the mothership, right, this is what I saw. This was the window, and I could see the space was in the background. It wasn't a thin window. It was a rather decent large size window. Like, it wasn't a slip. This is my point of view. When I was in the ship, I was seeing the wall, and the ship had this curvature along the top of it. But just imagine this without these 2 ends here. Like, it was literally just a side of the ship. And it was all white. And I remember it didn't feel like I was in a private room or private space. It felt like a really open space where beings would convene or, glide, walk to and from it. When I saw this is when that being appeared. The being was wearing a white lab coat. And when I first saw it, I was like, wait a minute, are you a reptilian? Because, it was all scaly. But he or she, there's a reason why I'm saying that, was giving me a sense of just calmness, like there's nothing to fear. And we were telepathically speaking to each other. This is going to sound weird, but the being started like changing its energy to a more feminine energy, because I felt like it was picking up that I was a little confused. And so they wanted to come across as a more feminine energy that's nurturing and caring, kind and gentle. So it morphed, its energy started switching into that as we were looking at each other. And it absolutely helped and calmed me down. And the being, the Orion ambassador, that's the most that I know, was checking on me to see if I was okay, because at the time I was in a very toxic, tumultuous relationship. And I remember the person I was with at the time was right next to me on the mothership too, but his soul wasn't in the body. It was just the body standing next to me, like it was an empty vessel. And I remember that distinctly. And from my vision, you could not see his face. It was just his body, his vessel. And the Orion ambassador asked me telepathically, do you want to continue? So that's when I knew. I was like, this was all part of this path that I'm supposed to be learning from. I said, yes, I'm okay, and I'd like to continue, because I felt that there was more to be learned, that I had to take and learn and clear out of this experience in this relationship. And as soon as I said that, I was woken up. I remember waking up and just reflecting on the experience, like, what was that? Because at that time, I didn't know what the Galactic Federation was. I didn't understand where I was. It didn't connect with me. It was more about me connecting with the being. And it wasn't until later on that I realized, okay, I was taken onto the Galactic Federation mothership. And it wasn't until I knew I was connecting with the Orion ambassador leader, because I saw images of members of the Galactic Federation. And when I saw the Orion ambassador, I was like, oh shit, that was the being that was connecting with me, checking on me. That's when I was like, oh, okay. And I put everything together. The photos that I see, though, at least this one, the inside of the Orion leader's body was more yellow colored. During that moment in time, I thought, like, why am I connecting with this scaly looking being? I knew what reptilians were at that time, but I'm saying I had no idea. And then I understood, like, there are so many types of beings out there that look similar to other beings, but they're not the same. You would think they'd want to pass on a message for humanity or share a galactic mission or something like that, but no, it was more of a wellness check, checking on my well-being. That was, again, the first encounter with them. The second one was a few months ago. It felt more like a message. Lord Ashtar, the leader of the Ashtar Command, I've learned that recently. He popped in my dream state, and I was flying over the water, and it was gorgeous blues, purples, pinks in the sky and the water. And as I was flying in the water, and there was like land, mountains, and green grass, and just beautiful, gorgeous nature, and seeing beyond the water. And then I'm looking at the water, and then he appears as I'm gliding along the water. That took me as a message that they are going to connect and come back and bridge in the connection to nature again. Like how it was during Lemuria, and I have a strong connection to Lemuria. I've had a lifetime there, a few lifetimes there. I said about that on my podcast if you want to go check it out. It's the Frankly Oceans episode. But I also saw another seer mention that she also was connecting with the GFL, and that they were going to work with nature first before they make their presence known. There's something within the landscapes of the earth, nature itself, the trees, the water, the mountains, all of it, the animals, that needs reconfiguration before they make themselves known to humanity. And I've learned the connection of Ashtar and what the Ashtar Command stands for. They're here to help assist Gaia in the ascension process, promotes peace, unity, and collaboration with all the other beings across this universe. And they work in tandem with Ascended Masters, especially Yeshua. So all of it just all connects, because as you already know, Yeshua is one of my guides. Everything is connecting for me, and especially the timing of which I'm stepping into being a guide and a healer and teaching. One of the many things that Ashtar is here for is not only advancing environmental technologies and other technologies here on Gaia to better the planet, the environment, and humanity, but also assist with spiritual development for humanity. During the ascension, I had to spiritually develop and go through my awakening journey for almost 20 years to get to this point. They've been waiting for me to be ready. Now that I'm ready, Ashtar made itself known to me. It's time to join the team and help the collective.